Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Video 2 of the day. Now, you may not have seen the other video I just did, so I'm going to explain again. So I have left over some Mangrove Jack's pure liquid malt extract, which is what you use for the sugars in the Mangrove Jack's kits. Now, the one that I just brewed said specifically to use this. So that's what I'm going to do. But it was like an extra £2 for another 600 grams of it. So instead of like just buying the one with the amount I needed, I thought I'll go for the one that's a little bit more, £2 more. What was it, £2 more? Anyway, it was a little bit more, and I'm gonna make a mead out of it. So I've got some honey, I've got some mead yeast. So I've got some hot water here. I'm gonna add the hot water to this. Now, it's boiled water, but it's not boiling. It's actually cooled down. So that's that. And to that, I'm going to add... Where's my honey? Where's my honey? Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to add one of these, which is 720 grams of blossom honey. That's not the one that's already open. Where is the one that is already... Oh no, my lad's going to use that for baking. He says, yeah, Dad, I'm going to make some muffins. And I was like, and I'm thinking about putting honey in it. I was like, how dare you steal my honey? So anyway, 720. This is an experiment, this one. It's just to use that up, and it could be nice. Bit of malt in a mead. Has anyone ever tried it? Will it work? Of course it'll work. It'll produce a beverage. Will it be nice? Remains to be seen. Right, so quickly load that up. The honey's gone to the bottom, so we can use some of this hot water here to rinse this bottle out with. Because careful when you're doing this, you always have to release the pressure because it builds up from the oxygen. And we're good. Starting with a relatively low amount of water in there. And now what I'm going to do is tip the remainder, which is just under 600 grams. It's about 475, I'm going to say. I can't remember off the top of my head, even though I've only just done the other video. And we're just going to put this in. Yummy! Started with a low volume of water as well, because anything you add to it increases the volume, of course, which stands to reason. So we're just going to shimmy this down here. Yeah, the other video I did earlier on, it was a beer kit, a brut IPA by Mangrove Jack's, which is nice. Really, probably should, maybe. It's only got flipping beer stuff on it anyway, you'll be alright. Break rule number 1. I'm going to need to stir it in anyway, so it is what it is. Add some of this hot water to this pouch. Being very careful it doesn't overflow anywhere. And what the hot water does is the hot water helps break it down. Break it down. Because the way I see it is I've paid for it, so I don't really want it to end up going to waste, like having to go down the sink or in the bin or down the toilet or anything like that. I want to try and use it in some way, shape or form, and if it doesn't work, at least I tried. Now that water isn't exactly boiling hot, so it didn't really work very well with that. So we're going to try and squeeze it out as much as we can, as well as we can. I've already got the demijohn ready for it. That'll do, I think. And just gonna watch that. Right, so we're going to mix that in now. Like so. Make sure all that honey and the liquid malt gets dissolved. Helps with the water being warm for the honey and the liquid malt. And we'll be adding some water to this shortly. I'm going to take a hydrometer reading, and the hydrometer reading will determine how much sugar's in there and whether I need to add any more for it to be a nice mead. Multi-mead. Well, there you go, that's the name of it, multimedia. I love cheesy shit like that. If you have tried it yourself, do let me know, and let me know what the results was. It's still a bit thick in there, so it's not mixed in properly just yet. I might need to add a bit of water. It might have gone past the saturation part where it can't actually... Oh, I think we're nearly there. Now, I'm actually going to taste this as well. Never normally do it before a brew starts, because normally it's just going to taste like whatever you've put in it. But I don't know what the liquid malt extract is going to do, because it's essentially just sugar, but it's not sugar because it's malt extract. Cow. So we're going to go for about 4 litres, I'd say. So I'm just going to go pop over to the sink, fill this up with some water. Now the cold water is going to bring that temperature down, obviously. So we're just keeping an eye on that. I'm boiling the kettle in case I need to add any more warm water. Just going to give it another whirl, just in case we have gone past that saturation point. And this might not even work. It could end up just creating something terrible, not even drinkable. But we'll give it a go. It could create something new. It could be... Would it be a Braggot? A beer and a mead, or honey with... Is it a Braggot? No, because it's not the wort, is it? It's the sugars that I've added. It's not actually a wort. Because a Braggot is a beer with mead in, or a mead with malt and barley in, I believe. I have looked at actually brewing a honey beer, but the amount of sugars, I'm sorry, the amount of honey that you'd need is eye-watering. Something exciting coming up soon. I'm going to be doing a rebrew of one of my friend's favourite ones that I've done, which was the Viking's Blood, using City Steading's recipe, so you need to go check that out. Their 2021 recipe, I think it was, or 2022 recipe, I can't remember now. Right, so I'm going to wait for the kettle to boil, and then we'll see where we're at with this. It's going down nicely, actually. I think we're going to be at a really good starting temperature. So I'm probably not even going to need the hot water. May even need a bit more cold. It's sat at 26 at the moment, which is perfectly fine. My mead yeast can be pitched at between 15 and 30. And this has got a tolerance of 18%. So yeah, I'm back in a sec because my lad wants me. He's off poorly at the moment, so I'm going to sort him out with a pudding, I reckon. So off camera, I actually added more water, cold water. We're now at about 4.3 litres. I'm leaving that little bit of a gap before, until I put it in here. Once it's in there, I'll see what the headroom is. Because I've never done it with malt extract as well, I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't know what the reaction is going to be. So we've got to be on the side of caution with it, really. I'm going to beat some oxygen in, and then we're going to transfer it. Actually, no. We're not going to transfer it just yet. We're going to pitch the yeast in this, because that'll be easier than trying to stick that in there to then sort all the yeast out. So I'm going to take a hydrometer reading. Quick rinse this. It's literally only had the beer that I've just brewed in there, so everything was clean before that. And this has got that in it anyway, so what's the bloody difference? I wouldn't normally do that, but you know, sometimes you just gotta go with the flow, yo. So depending on what the gravity of this is, depends on whether I add anything else to it. Now it's sitting quite high. Not as high as a normal mead would be, but still relatively high compared to what a beer would be. I think we're at about the 90 mark, or maybe a little bit less. Yeah, 246, 86. Now, this marks a new dawn. I've now got to use my a new book, because the other book that I did have is absolutely full now. So, well, that wasn't very good, was it? The whole blooming pen's just come off in my hand. That's because it's not a lid. Damn it. Pens these days. Whatever happened to just a pen? Right, so let's just make a quick note of the original gravity, which was 1. It's actually gone up again. It's at 246, let's say 7 now. 1.087. Now I'm tempted to add more honey, or maybe a bit of brown sugar. I think brown sugar, just to ramp it up that little bit. I don't want it going up too much, but I want some residual sugars left behind. So let's tip that back in there for now. Let's get out my bag of brown sugar in the ingredients cupboard. And what have we got in here to begin with? That's a 500 gram bag. So let us weigh out wherever my scales have gone. Where's my scales? They're down here. Let's just put that over there. Let's go get one of my little tubs. This is not even the refined stuff. This is like the chunky, bought from the shop across the road stuff. So if we're at 1.87, did I say? Shall we try 50 grams of sugar? Let's see what we get. Because I don't want to overdo it. And there could possibly some of the sugars in the liquid malt might actually be unfermentable. So I'm going to stir this and I'm going to add this slowly. And then of course take another hydrometer reading. I can feel it being a bit gritty in there, so it's not dissolving straight away. Let's remove that away. Temperature's still good, 24. Normally I have to put it in a flipping ice bath. This has already got positive pressure. Not even 20 minutes after I put the lid and the airlock on. I'm sloshing it all over the bloody place now. See if we can feel any of the grittiness. Yeah, a little bit. So I'm gonna mix this in. We're back in a minute. Okay, it seems to all be dissolved now. I think I was almost there before I sped it up, to be honest. Let's do another hydrometer test. And we'll start off with a small amount, 50 grams, because you can always add more, but you can't take it away. It's not even gone up that much, to be honest. But I think we'll leave it at that. I do. I think we'll leave it at that. Worst case scenario, I can always back sweeten it. It's at 92. So it's only gone up by a small amount. Making a note. So then we changed it, so now it's 1.092. Right, so before the yeast goes in, I want to taste it. Now, fermentation always changes the flavour of something, but I want to know what the malt lends to it, because I know what honey and water tastes like. It's quite nice. Ovaltine. That's what it tastes like, Ovaltine. Or Horlicks. It's one or the other. Although I think they're pretty much the same thing, but just branded differently, aren't they? Anywho, we're going to pitch the yeast. I'm using Mangrove Jack's M05 Mead yeast, which is what I always use because I like it. And adding the extra sugar has taken it up ever so slightly, but not a great deal. Because obviously we increased the volume by adding it. I have a cunning plan. I'm going to put the yeast straight in there first. And then add the must to it. Just because it saves it all getting stuck on the inside of this. Method to my madness. And there's clearly madness, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this, but there's a method to it. I'm going to speed this up because it's flipping well boring. And I'm pretty sure you can guess what's going on, you know, even sped up. Okay, lesson learned there is that didn't really work, because all that happened was the yeast sat to the bottom and stuck there. So then when I was adding the stuff on top, the yeast was still all just stuck down on the bottom, so I've had to mix it anyway. Live and learn. That's it, all mixed up. Put in. Done. Job done. Now, we stick an airlock on and we see what happens. Hopefully we get something that's nice. Wasn't really feeling the Ovaltine vibe. I might throw some, I'm going to put some raisins in, you know. I think it's going to need something. Just a few. About a handful normally is what I use. Put that back on there. Now just give it a bit of a tannin zing, bit of mouthfeel. Yeah, okay. Well, that's that. Ooh, yeast nutrients. Damn, son. Yeast nutrients. How very dare I? I have to buy some more of this, actually. So, 1 level teaspoon per gallon. It's not a full gallon, so we'll do a little bit of that one. Yes. Now mix that in. Oops. Although we may probably do need the nutrients in there, if I'm honest, because you've got the malt. The malt's probably got some nutrients in itself anyway. Because you don't use yeast nutrients in a beer, do you? Because the yeast gets the nutrients from the grain and stuff, I suppose. Correct me if I am wrong, please, because I do assume a lot of the time. And there we go. Airlock. See what happens. It's very dark. But yeah, Ovaltine. Oval Mead. I'd be interested to see what it's like when it's not sweet. When all the sugar's disappeared. I'm going to do a bit of a calculation. I'll be back in a sec and I'll tell you what this could possibly be, ABV wise, when it reaches a point that I want to have the amount of sweetness. Now, the minimum amount of sweetness I require is about 1.010, so 10 points. That is the minimum I require. To me, that is dry still. It's still a bit, I like sweet, but we'll see where this goes. If when I taste it, it's not nice sweet, I'll let it go dry like a beer. But then with the dryness of a beer and a high ABV, you get that real big punch from the alcohol, the ethanol that's there, which becomes a flavour of it as well. I can't say I like it, you know, and you get like a really strong beer and all you can actually taste is the ethanol. A lot of triple IPAs and stuff, you get that. Righto, let's leave it and see what happens. Thanks for watching. Peace.